All right, everybody, how's it going? Just coming to check in. Can you give me some thumbs up in the chat if you're here, if you're paying attention, if you're ready to go, if you're working? Thumbs up in the chat. I'll give you a minute to do that. Okay, I see cameras are off, everyone, especially if your camera is off. If you can, please turn it on, but if not, please give me at least a thumbs up in the chat so I can see that you're here and that you're ready to go. Okay, thumbs up coming in, thumbs up coming in. Still waiting on a couple. Awesome, thank you. So what I'm going to do to kick this off, because I know you all have been working hard, I just want you to write in the chat, what dinosaur would you have if you could have a dinosaur for a pet? What kind of dinosaur would you have? Okay, Kel says a Stegosaurus. Stegosaurus, I get that. Yeah, Triceratops, very, very good for defense. Got it. T-Rex, obviously. Why would you not? All right, cool. So thanks you all for participating. Anybody have any questions, anything that they need explained? Anything about their projects that's not going how they expect it to, please let me know. Okay, so we have a question about styles, or your homepage isn't showing the styles that you're trying to write in CSS. Okay, so let me pull up my screen and show my example project. Let's see. So here's my example project, and for right now, I also don't have the styles on it. So we can see that our artist page has no styles on it. It's just the base HTML. So can someone remind me when the browser gets our HTML files, it has that and it can read all the HTML. But if we wanted to have CSS and JavaScript, what does it have to do? Right, it has to think about where to get the CSS and think about where to get the JavaScript. So for now, we just need to think about the CSS. So what part of you does the thinking? Right, your head does the thinking. So what part of the HTML file also does the thinking? The head, right. So in the head tag, and I'll scroll up so you can see, in our head tag, we have to make sure we give a link to our HTML, to our CSS, to our JavaScript. In this case, since we want styles, what language do we use to write styles? Right, CSS. And just as a pop quiz, what is contained within styles? There's three things. Font is one. Then we have layout, and we have one more. Colors, right? So fonts, layouts, and colors. So right now, we don't see the fonts we want. We don't see the colors we want. So we need to make sure that we include that and the layout. So what I'm going to do in our head is add a link. And so we have two CSS files that we want to use in our artist page. So the CSS files that we want to use are the navbar styles and the style.css. So I'm going to need two links. And for our links, first we have to write the relation attribute, which tells the HTML what the relation of this link is to the HTML. So it's going to be our style sheet. And then we have to give the href to the file that we want to use. So we'll do style.css. And then you can just close this tag with the opening tag. So the links only need an opening tag. And then I can just copy that and also get my home page, or sorry, my navbar style. navbar style .css. All right, and if you take a look, boom, there's our style. Any other questions? Remember that you have to tell the HTML file where to think about getting its CSS and getting its JavaScript. And the thinking happens in the head. So in the head tag of the HTML document. Any other questions? Okay, Erica has a question about her navbar. So you want your navbar to be like most websites where the navbar goes across the top and each of the navigations is in a row of columns instead of just one column, right? Okay, so let's figure out how to do that. So what I do know is that by default, list items, which are what we have for our nav bar, we have a nav and then we have an unordered list and we have list items in that unordered list. List items are by default block level elements. So that means that they take up the entire width of their parent. What we want is for the list items to only take up either the content of the list item, so that would be the title of the link or the tab, or a little larger, but not the whole width. So what I'm going to do is just look up, because this is one of our best tools, is looking up how to do something. So I'm going to say how to make LI elements inline. And inline means that they only take up the width of what's contained inside the element. So just the text in this case. So I'm going to just CSStricks.com. I'm going to click this first list link, centering list items horizontally. And let's just take a look. So if you want to make navigational unordered list horizontal, you have basically two options. Make the list items inline. And then we have another option that says float the list items. Okay, so float is something that I'm familiar with, so we'll go with that. And what floating does is adjust the layout of the element that you are floating to some arrangement. So for example, what we're going to do is float all our list items to the left so that they automatically align themselves in a row to the left of their parent. So to do that, where do we adjust our layout, everyone? What language do we change the layout in? That's right, CSS. So what I'm going to do is go to our navbar styles, and then we have some selectors for our main menu item, which we gave an ID. We gave an unordered list, ID of main menu, and we already have some LI attributes set for that main menu unordered list, but we need one more for our list items. So I'm going to use the ID selector, and for the ID main menu, and for our LIs inside of main menu, I am going to use the float attribute. And then for the float attribute, I'm going to float all of our list items to the left. And let's check it out. All right, so here's what we see. We have all of our list items for our navigation in one row, all arranged to the left one by one, floating left to right. And just for clarification, if you're not clear on the float attribute, just search float attribute CSS, and there is more explaining it. So any questions from here? Okay, that's a good question. I didn't know exactly how to change immediately the navigation from being in a column to a row, but we got it. There we go.